So the question is how to maintain steadiness and enthusiasm in life. A lot of thunderstorms, a lot of tornadoes. So I want to tell you a small story. This is a story that I read. Someone sent me this story and I was so touched by this story, so I want to share it with all of you. Do you remember the tsunami that happened in Southeast Asia, Thailand, everything blown over? Anyone seen those videos of the tsunamis? And even in India, in the southern part of India and Sri Lanka, there was a major tsunami. So during the tsunami, hundreds and thousands of people were left to be homeless. Hundreds and thousands of people were completely bereft of any shelter. The interesting part is there is this group of scuba divers. They were scuba diving during the tsunami under the ocean. And, you know, like where Guadalupe is in Mexico, that whole island of Cancun, underneath, it's actually just water. And there's trees everywhere, and it's rocks. So all the rocks are intertwined, and you can go, they call them, there's a Sunates, is the, Cenotes is the name of the Spanish name for all this caves under the water in the mountains. It's very beautiful. And amazing, beautiful rivers under the ground. And you can travel through the mountains. And there's hundreds of them all over that Cancun, that coast, the Mexican, I think it's called the Caribbean waters. A tsunami is when the tectonic plates under the earth, they shift and it creates a wave, and it's very big and it's very massive, and it washes down and destroys everything in the shores. So the interesting part of this is this group of scuba divers in Thailand, they were scuba diving where the tsunami happened. The tsunami came and the tsunami destroyed towns and villages, and tsunami was over. And the people that were under the ocean who were scuba diving, all they noticed was a little change in the a little change in the water under the ocean. That's all they felt. They had no idea what was happening above the waters. So when they came up, they noticed there was nothing left. There was no buildings. There were no people. Everything was washed. Tsunami had destroyed the cities, and they had no idea. And they didn't feel anything under the ocean. So this is what happens in our lives. When we are able to dive deep into our hearts and we are heart-centered in our life, then all the big tsunamis will come and will destroy everything. There will be wars, and we are still, so many desires, so many thoughts, so many emotions come. They just come like a big, huge tsunami, and they just go, and we're still situated and centered in our heart. The bottom of the ocean is always cool and peaceful. See, the heart is down here, and the mind is here. All the tsunami is happening here. And all we need to do is we need to dive deep, like the scuba divers. Stay down here and let the tsunami come and let the tsunami go. So I will give you 3 steps on how to go to the bottom of the ocean, so you can take a deep dive and you're not affected by the tsunami. So because Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that the senses and the mind create so much noise. It's so loud, it's so powerful, that it's harder to control the thoughts and the waves of the mind than to control the tsunami. So, step one, what we need is we need to have a group. You should never swim under the ocean by yourself. Because whenever you're in a group, then what happens? You always feed off of each other and you gain strength in numbers. And everyone is an expert scuba diver. So everyone knows, everyone is on the same spiritual path. So this is our Sangha. It's the same. We're all scuba divers. We're taking dive into our hearts and we are all in this journey together. So if we stay together in the Sangha, then we are all going to be fine because we are all in this journey together. We can hold on to each other and not each other separate and be pulled apart. So this is very, very important. Even in husband and wife, it's the same principle of having a partner, a team, you together. That's what Sangha means. Sang means together. So the importance is to have the unity amongst like-minded people doing the same thing. So this is step one. Step two, they need oxygen. And the supply of oxygen is very critical for them to be under the ocean for long periods of time. The tsunami that destroyed this coast of Thailand in India, Sri Lanka, this was a matter of hours, and that's it. So it's very, very powerful. So this oxygen is a must. So this oxygen that we have in our Sangha is that we are always seeking to lift one another by finding the good in each other. It's very, 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 very powerful. If you are in a group of people that someone is pulling you down and pushing you down or trying to cut you to size, what happens is then you're not going to be able to survive in this under the ocean. You won't be able to breathe. You will suffocate. So the oxygen is needed. So we are constantly seeing how to build each other up. Because by building someone else, you gain strength because you build that foundation. Like Monique, the strength of Monique will determine how long Bruno will last. Because the stronger that Bruno can make Monique, the stronger he will be. And stronger Bruno becomes, the stronger Monique becomes. So in this way, they become these two solid, strong pillars that nothing can break them. So in this Sangha, our objective is how to build each and every one with spiritual complements by encouraging, by supporting, by nurturing each other. We can never become strong by breaking someone else. Only a weak person breaks another person. To break something, to break someone is a sign of weakness. To build someone is signs that you have strength. You are strong. That means you have the ability to build others up. So it is very, very important to have oxygen to survive under the ocean. We need to have oxygen. That means we reach out to one another. We complement, we support, and we try to nurture each other in their own personal spiritual journeys. Our communication and our relationship is so deep spiritually that we are constantly seeing, hey, Olivia, what is the source of the beautiful smile in your heart? What is the source? Please tell us the secret. And we're constantly encouraging each other to grow spiritually, to stimulate spiritual thoughts, to stimulate spiritual practices. This is the oxygen. This is not carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is when people falsely glorify you with some expectation. It is poisonous. It is toxic. When people need something from you, only then they say something nice about you. We are not that. We are simply there without any expectation, finding the good in our community and everyone that we surround by. Always. Nothing bad to say, only the beauty that we see in each other. There is one saint named Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He said that if you hear one negative word from someone else speaking, you must immediately leave that space. He goes as far as to say, Jara mukh dekhi bhule jave hari, tar kache tumi jayona. It's a very beautifully poetic, he explains that by looking at whose face, that means by hearing this carbon dioxide flowing, this negative energy flowing, by observing that you may forget the true nature, the true nectar that flows from you. If you observe that, you'll get contaminated. So please turn your head away and walk in the opposite direction. So very important. The oxygen is extremely important for us to survive in the depth of the ocean. So if we want to remain in our hearts, we have to avoid being in that situation and always be surrounded with people that will feed us oxygen, life. And then the third step, oxygen you need good company, then you need oxygen, and now we need to have food. You have to make sure that you're well fed. And that food is our daily spiritual practice. Just like we have breakfast, we have lunch, we have dinner. Sometimes we also have brunch. So we have 4 or 5 meals a day. We need to have at least one meal a day for your heart. Your heart needs to have one good meal minimum a day. And that food is your love for your heart. You have to send your heart your love every single day without fail. And the way we send the love to our heart every single day is not by waking up and saying, I am beautiful, I am smart. It's not that kind of affirmation. To actually spend quality meditative time in our heart. When we situate in our heart, that means we wake up and we do our japa and meditation every single day, minimum 2 hours a day. 2 hours in the morning, or 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. It is the food for our heart. And if we spend feeding our heart every single day for minimum 2 hours, then when our heart is filled, we're able to get all the breath and breathe fresh oxygen, and we have good association, then you will always be able to remain calm and peaceful under all circumstances. People will come into our lives and will leave, and we are situated in our heart. We're on the bottom of the ocean. We're not going to be affected by it. Sometimes, I remember growing up in the monastery, we used to have our monastery on the bank of the Ganga River. And I used to love going into the Ganga when the storms and tornadoes would come. There was a season called the tornado season. And when the big trees would fall down crashing and thunderstorms and massive hails, and I would love to go take a deep breath and go into the Ganga and just hold my breath for as long as I can, and I would come up and I would do this for hours. And I would come out and walk back to the monastery when we see trees are falling down. We just totally missed the whole drama of the tornadoes. So I remember when I read this story, I was thinking how it's so true. You just go under the water and you can miss the whole drama outside. So if we take this daily journey, take a daily dive into your heart for minimum 2 hours, then you'll miss the whole mental journey, all the unnecessary anxiety, sadness, this one's drama, this one's drama. You can miss it all. Because the drama, the storms will come and go and is very unpredictable. So therefore, these 3 steps that the yoga texts prescribe is very, very powerful if we want to always remain calm and peaceful and steady, daily steady in our own spiritual space.
C'est pourquoi les textes